think about who's involved with the Broadway show, you think the performers, the people you see, the director, who's in charge of the creative idea, and the producers, who are in charge of everything else. But there are hundreds of occupations that relate to all the other aspects of theater as well. The production team consists of the producer, the director, the scenic designer, lighting designer, costume designer, sound designer, production manager, technical director, and professional stagehands. Pre-production occupations include carpenter, charge artist, electrician, wardrobe supervisor, and publicist. Performance occupations include actors, stage managers, call boys, light board operators, sound operators, spotlight operators, deck electricians, running crew, fly crew, and dressers. Because of the number of people it takes to put on a Broadway show, new jobs are being created every day. On average, Broadway employs 44,000 people each year. Believe it or not, only 14,000 of the 44,000 full-time jobs supported by Broadway have to do with the shows and venues themselves. The other 30,000 are in local restaurants, shops, taxis, and other things that tourists are using. Let's use an example. This is Samson. Hi, Samson. Samson has decided to go to New York for vacation. He would like to see a Broadway show while he is there. First, he needs to find a ticket booth. Now he needs to purchase tickets for his family of 4. He hands over the money and receives his tickets. When people see the ticket man receive the money, they think that this is the end of the financial transaction. What people don't see is the big picture. What is the ticket man going to do with his money? The ticket man receives a portion of the earnings from selling tickets as his salary. He uses the money he earned to take a taxi home. The money the taxi cab man makes from taking the ticket man home is used to pay the rent for his apartment. The landlord receives the taxi cab man's money and uses it to hire a maintenance worker to keep his apartment complex up and running. The salary of the maintenance worker is then used to tip a waitress at a diner where the worker eats dinner. The waitress goes on vacation, where she stays at a hotel and tips a bellhop. The bellhop in turn gives a small portion of his tip to a homeless man he finds on a street corner. Everyone is connected by a singular original dollar. As that dollar is transferred from one person to another, a sort of web is created. Here's the web again in simpler terms. Here is a man. This man has a dollar. Through some financial transaction, the dollar is transferred to another man. This man then spends the dollar and a new man receives it. This pattern continues, and the transfer of the dollar creates a line. This line will eventually come full circle and end up back into the hands of the original man. Then the cycle will begin again. But what if the original man never had that dollar in the first place? That $1 affects a whole line of people, and the other men wouldn't have a dollar either. The whole line would be broke. This is why the smallest details can have huge effects on the economy. This is known as the multiplier effect, or the snowballing of economic activity. It is the idea that the initial amount of spending leads to increased consumption spending and results in an increase in national income greater than the initial amount of spending. By creating jobs and bringing in millions of tourist dollars, Broadway has complete control over New York City's economy.